Boom, everyone, and happy Hump Day. It is Wednesday, and I am just so delighted to be here with you today. I am going to start a watch party as we speak. Our CEO, Mr. Holton Buggs, is still going strong with a presentation that he has put together, and so I'm sure people will be joining us in just a few moments. But today is really a very, very special day. Rudy is not able to join us right now. He may be able to come on. He is actually moving offices today, and so he has been packing and unpacking, and then told me they had a meeting that he was called into. So Rudy may be with us, and if not, then he will be back with us hopefully tomorrow. But like I said, today's a special day because Mr. Holton Buggs has is just wrapping up a nearly 2-hour presentation where he lays out what ibüümerang is all about. And so I got to thinking, what can we talk about today that'd be a little bit different, but also something that would be poignant and relevant. And so the last couple of days we had Peggy Simpson on with us, and what a true delight and so much wisdom that she brought with her to the presentation. And she talked about a couple of books that inspired her. So I got to thinking about books and what books mean, and the journey she and I have been on professionally over the last 20 years. Like I said, we met in first or second grade. That's okay, the last 20-something years. And I think back to Y2K. The 1900s were ending. The 21st century was beginning in 2000. And we were all told that these things may be happening to computers and that they can't, work past, December 31st, 1999. And so we had a special Y2K project that I was in charge of as an ops manager at this consulting company. And we hired a bunch of young guns to come in and work with us. And there was one young man particularly that I got very close to, and he inspired me so much. In fact, he solved the solution that we had with an issue. And he told me, he said, Bart, he said, there's a book you need to read. And he gave me this book, and it's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And if you've never read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I'm sure you've heard about the book, and you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki. But if you've not read this book, you need to. Because here's what the book teaches us. It's all about the mindset, and we've talked about mindset. Hey, Charles, welcome to the call. We've talked about mindset so many times. And Peggy's back with us. Hey, Peggy, welcome. So many times about what your mind does. And we know that thoughts are things, and what you think about, you become. And there's a big difference between thinking about something and faking it till you're making it, whether you're acting as if. And, this book goes into that because here's what the book's about. Robert Kiyosaki's dad, he refers to as his poor dad, because he taught the traditional things we all were taught. You go to school, maybe you go to college or a trade school, you get a job, you work there for 25, 30 years, you get a watch, you retire, and you always have that job. And that job means that you are just over broke. But here's what a rich dad, his best friend's dad was a rich dad. And these were the lessons that he taught them. And so I wanted to flip over to a part that really goes into overcoming obstacles. And this is about overcoming obstacles in your everyday life. Remember, this is a mindset. This is how rich people teach their children. Keep this in mind. And the people that are part of the executive team of ibüümerang, they are millionaires. And they will tell you that very wealthy people never pay full price. But those of us who have been poor most of our life, not only do we pay full price, but we probably pay 25 to 30% interest rate to buy that thing at full price. So it is a different mindset. And so there's 5 reasons that we don't overcome obstacles, or that we allow obstacles to get in the way. And here they are real quickly. Fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. Welcome to you, Terry, and to Kim. Thanks for joining us. So let's talk just a moment about fear. And here's what we know about fear. We've all heard the acronym that fear is false evidence appearing real. But here's what he says. The fear of losing money is real. Everyone has it, even the rich. But it's not having fear that is the problem. It's how you handle fear. It's how you handle losing. If you handle failure, it's how you handle failure that makes the difference in your life. The primary difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage fear. He goes on to say it's okay to be fearful. It's okay to be a coward when it comes to money. You can still be rich. We're all heroes at something and cowards at something else. And he gives an example of his friend's wife as an emergency room nurse. When she sees blood, she just goes into action. When Robert Kiyosaki mentions investing, she runs away. But yet when he sees blood, he runs away. I would too. But there's an example of that. And he goes on to talk about how it's okay to be fearful. Some of the best athletes, when they go into a game, they are fearful of what may happen. And here's the thing. They actually enjoy losing, because with the fear of losing as a motivator, that's what takes you into winning. He even says that for most people, the reason they don't win financially is because the pain of losing money is far greater than the joy of being rich. And he goes further to say this. Here's the key to fear when it comes to money. He says, first thing is that you always want to pay yourself first. He says, failure inspires winners and failure defeats losers. It's the biggest secret of winners. It's the secret that losers do not know. The greatest secret of winners is that failures inspire winning. Thus, they're not afraid of losing. Second thing he talks about is overcoming cynicism. Now, we've all heard the story of Chicken Little, and the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And we know that Chicken Little ran around the barnyard telling everyone the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And we also know people who are that way. And believe it or not, there is a Chicken Little inside each of us. The cynic is really a little chicken. We all get a little chicken when fear and doubt clouds our thoughts. He goes further to say noise. Noise is either created inside our heads or comes from the outside, from often friends, family, co-workers, and the media. This is what creates cynicism, is that noise. And he gave some examples here. He said when violence breaks out in a city, gun sales go up. When a person dies from a rare hamburger meat in the state of Washington, the Arizona Health Department orders all restaurants to have all beef cooked well done. When a drug company runs a TV commercial in February showing people catching the flu, guess what? Colds go up, as well as sales of cold medicine. Hey, Rosa, welcome to the call. And he says most people are poor because when it comes to investing, the world is full of Chicken Littles running around yelling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And Chicken Littles are effective because every one of us is a little bit chicken. It often takes great courage not to let rumors and talk of doom and gloom affect your doubts and fears. Let me mention that again. It often takes great courage to not let rumors and talk of doom and gloom affect your doubts and fears. As you can tell, I love New York. Shout out to Rosa again. I love New York. I love the theater community there. And there's a great musical that was on Broadway for years called Newsies, and got to know several of the cast members in that and the people that put that show together. And there's a great line in Newsies that says, Courage is not when we overcome our fears. Courage is when we face our fears. So many times when you start something new, all those naysayers out there will be telling you, nope, this is not going to work. You shouldn't be doing this. You're wasting your energy. You're wasting your time. Just forget it. It's not going to happen. That's the noise I'm talking about that often we listen to and get involved with. And it's that noise that creates the cynical part of us. And so we buy into it because guess what? It's so much easier to buy into cynicism than it is to buy into your own voice that says, I know I can do this. I know I can. I remember as a little kid, and I'm sure you guys remember the story too, of the little train that said, I think I can, and gets to the top of the hill. One of the things that Holton Buggs has done with ibüümerang is he's taken the cynicism factor almost totally out of it. Yeah, we're all still a little bit chicken when we go into it and a little bit nervous. We just heard Mr. Johnny Wimbrey say he was a little bit scared coming over, leaving millions of dollars on the table to come over here with the ability to create billions of dollars. Yeah, he was scared. That's that little bit of chicken that's there. But here's what Mr. Holton Buggs has done. He has created an environment where the elephant, the monkey, and the fish are all on the same plane. If you don't know the story of the elephant, the monkey, and the fish, Google it. Go out and read it because it's so incredibly valuable with what we have. Hey, William, welcome to the call. The third thing, and I love this one, he says, overcome laziness. Busy people are often the most lazy. What? Yeah, busy people are often the most lazy. If they aren't busy at work or with kids, they're often busy watching TV, fishing, golfing, or shopping. Yet deep down, they know they're avoiding something important. That's the most common form of laziness. Laziness by staying busy. So what is the cure for laziness? The answer is greed. For many of us, we were raised thinking of greed or desire as bad. Greedy people are bad people, our mothers would tell us. Yet we all have we all have inside of us this yearning to have nice, new, or exciting things. So to keep that emotion of desire under control, parents used to find ways of suppressing that desire with guilt. They would tell us, you only think about yourself. Don't you know you have brothers and sisters? Don't you think about your friends? And they say, you want me to buy you what? Do you think we're made of money? Do you think money grows on trees? We're not rich people, They use guilt to suppress your dreams and your thoughts. It wasn't so much the words, but the angry guilt trip that went with the words. Now, Rich Dad, here's what Rich Dad would do. And this is where it's different how rich people teach their kids. Rich Dad would not allow the phrase, I can't afford it, in his home. That phrase was not allowed. I can't afford it. Instead, Rich Dad required his children to say, how can I afford it? He believed that the words, I can't afford it, shut down your brain. In other words, you didn't have to think anymore. You closed it off. You can't afford it. But when you say to yourself, how can I afford it? That opens up the brain and forces it to think and reach for new answers. But most importantly, he says, he felt the words, I can't afford it, is a lie. And the human spirit knows it. The human spirit is very, very powerful. Hey, Ellen, welcome to the call. He would say it knows it can do anything. By having a lazy mind that says, I can't afford it, or I can't do this, then a war breaks out inside of you. Your spirit is angry, and your lazy mind must defend its lie. Hey, Liz, welcome this afternoon. So you see, laziness is a byproduct of just being busy, because we're taking our vision off of our focus of what we want to achieve. And we're not setting those priorities like we've always set them. The next thing he talks about is overcoming bad habits. And this is really a toughie for many of us to look at. He said, our lives are a reflection of our habits more than our education. Let me repeat that. Our lives are a reflection of our habits more than our education. And when you stop and think about that, you're right, Charles, keep your mind fixed on your goals. You know, there's a person that I follow and listen to a lot of his stuff on YouTube, and I get emails from him daily, by the name of Jake Ducey. And Jake Ducey now lives in Hawaii and does a lot of personal empowerment. And Jake says that our subconscious controls 95 to 98% of what we say and do. And what is your subconscious? It's your habits. He said, here's an example. Robert Kiyosaki writes, here's an example of habits controlling behavior. He says he remembers asking his rich dad about the habits of the rich. Instead of answering me outright, he wanted me to learn through an example. And pay very close attention to this, because this is incredibly powerful. And my guess is you're going to turn the light switch off and say, before I get through, but follow me through it. So Rich Dad asked Robert Kiyosaki, when does your dad pay his bills? And he said, the first of the month. Does he have anything left over? Very little. That's the main reason he struggles, Rich Dad said. He has bad habits. Your dad pays everyone else first. He pays himself last, but only if he has anything left over, which he usually doesn't. But he has to pay his bills, doesn't he? You're saying he shouldn't pay his bills? Of course not, Rich Dad replies. I firmly believe in paying my bills on time. I just pay myself first before I even pay the government. But what happens if you don't have enough money? What do you do then? The same, replied Rich Dad. I still pay myself first, even if I'm short of money. My asset column is far more important to me than the government. But don't they come after you? Yes, if you don't pay, Rich Dad replies. Look, I did not say not to pay. I just said I pay myself first, even if I'm short of money. But how do you do that? It's not how. The question is, why? Okay, why? Motivation. What do you think will complain louder if I don't pay them? Me or my collections? Well, your creditors will definitely scream louder than you. You wouldn't say anything if you didn't pay yourself. So you see, after paying myself, the pressure to pay my taxes and the other creditors is so great that it forces me to seek other forms of income. The pressure to pay becomes my motivation. And here's the real key. The pressure made me work harder, forced me to think, and all in all, made me smarter and more active when it comes to money. If I paid myself last, I would have left no pressure. I'd be broke. Think about that and apply that to life. That's also exactly what happens in life. When you put yourself first, when you say, I take care of me first, guess what? You're making a stronger, more motivated commitment to your family, to your friends, to your business, to your work, to every part of your life. Because if you're not strong enough for yourself, then how can you be strong for others? And the last one, and we'll hurry with this, is overcoming arrogance. And we know arrogant people. He said, Rich Dad says, what I know makes me money. What I don't know loses me money. Every time I've been arrogant, I've lost money. Because when I'm arrogant, I truly believe that what I don't know is not important. Apply that also to life and to arrogance. If you think you already know something and you're above the fray with it, guess what? You're already losing. Hey, Kim. Hey, Sammy. Welcome to the call this afternoon. He says, I have found that many people use arrogance to hide their own ignorance. Ask yourself, have you ever used arrogance to hide the fact you didn't know something? Or do you know people who embrace arrogance to cover ignorance? He said they try to bluster their way through the discussion, and it becomes very clear they don't know what they're talking about. Hence, they're lying to tell the truth. When you know you are ignorant in a subject, start educating yourself by finding an expert in the field or a book on the subject. And isn't that so true? Peggy talked about this yesterday. Charles just had a great comment. Keep good company with people that inspire and build you. Peggy says as a manager and as an executive with a company, she hired people where she was weaker because that's how she learned. She didn't hire them to fill a gap. That wasn't her first reason for hiring. That was a byproduct, but she hired them to learn. And that's what we do here. Get this book if you've not read it, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Absolutely amazing. Guys, thank you for joining me today. This is all about what we do in ibüümerang. ibüümerang is based on this mindset. We're not here selling any single product. We're giving things away. When we give something away, goodwill comes back to us, just like the rich dads teach their children. That's how you do it. That's how you create it. If you want more information about ibüümerang, two things to do. Number one, in the comments section below, or if Peggy or Charles or anyone is sharing this with you, Rosa or Cameron, anyone sharing this with you, Liz, just put down, tell me more, and we can send you some information. The other thing tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central Time, on Zoom. Go out to zoom.us, and the Zoom number is 520-662-2728, and you'll be on a call with Rudy and me tonight. We'll go over the whole presentation of how to become part of ibüümerang. Again, zoom.us, 520-662-2728. If you just want to see our technology, type in the comments me, and we'll send you one. Until tonight, until back here tomorrow at the same time, go out and make it a boom-tastic hump day. And guys, I'll see you on the beaches of the world. Boom.